For decades, we've been obsessed with the stars, with this idea of venturing out into that final frontier. But what if the biggest discovery we make out there isn't about what's out there at all? What if it's about what we see when we turn around and look back home? It really all started with images like this one, Earthrise. Just look at it. This fragile, beautiful blue marble just hanging there in this immense, quiet blackness. When astronauts saw this for the first time with their own eyes, it it changed them. It wasn't just a pretty picture, it was a feeling, a total awakening. Yuri Gagarin, the very first human being to ever see our planet from orbit, he felt it immediately. He didn't just see a planet, he saw a home that was unbelievably beautiful, and one that we had to protect. And that feeling, that powerful idea, is really at the heart of what we're talking about today. So, this feeling, this massive shift in how you see everything, it actually has a name. It's a real phenomenon that goes way beyond just looking at a nice view, and it's something people have been studying for a long, long time. A space philosopher named Frank White actually came up with the term the overview effect way back in the 80s. He described it as that incredible moment when all the borders and the divisions that seem so important down here on the ground, it just melt away. They're replaced by this overwhelming sense of unity, a connection to the entire planet as one living, breathing thing. And this effect can hit you in ways you would never, ever expect. Get this, when William Shatner, Captain Kirk himself, went to space, he thought he was going to feel this incredible joy, a celebration. But instead, looking at our vibrant, living Earth against that cold, dead blackness of space, he was just overwhelmed by what he called the strongest feelings of grief I have ever encountered, a deep, profound sadness for our planet. So, what on earth is the science behind an emotion that powerful? Well, as it turns out, this life-altering experience isn't some kind of space magic. It's a psychological phenomenon that's been studied pretty extensively, and the main ingredient is the emotion of awe. Now, psychologists have a really specific definition for awe. It's a complex feeling we get when we run into something that is, number one, vast, and number two, something that just forces us to rethink how we see the world. Let's break that down a little more. Researchers Dacher Keltner and Jonathan Haidt figured out that these are the two key ingredients. First, you have to perceive vastness, that feeling of being in the presence of something way, way bigger than yourself. And second, that feeling of vastness creates what they call a need for accommodation. Basically, your brain has to work overtime to try and fit this new, huge piece of information into what it already knows. And vastness doesn't just mean physically big, right? Like, yeah, the Grand Canyon is vast, but it can also be conceptually vast, like trying to wrap your head around the insane complexity of the Taj Mahal, or really digging into a mind-bending scientific theory. That need for accommodation part, that's what we usually call the mind-blown moment. It's that feeling where you realize your current understanding of things just isn't cutting it anymore, and you have to expand your worldview to make sense of what you're seeing or learning. Okay, this is so cool. This slide shows exactly how awe affects our sense of self. In a study, researchers just asked tourists to draw themselves. On the left, you see drawings from a regular old tourist spot, but on the right, those are drawings from people standing in the middle of awe-inspiring Yosemite National Park. Awe literally made them feel and then draw themselves as smaller, less focused on me, and more a tiny part of this huge, beautiful picture. Now, an experience this transformative, you just knew someone was going to try and sell it. And this is where our story takes a really ironic turn. Yup, companies like Virgin Galactic are now explicitly using the overview effect in their marketing. They are literally selling you the chance to go up there and feel this deep, profound connection to Earth. And the price for this perspective shifting ticket? A cool $450,000 per person. But, the sticker price isn't the only cost we should be thinking about. What's the price the planet itself has to pay for us to feel more connected to it? Well, according to the research, a single Virgin Galactic flight emits around 4.5 tons of carbon, and that's per passenger. That is a staggering amount of carbon for one trip. This slide just puts it into perspective, and it's pretty shocking. The Paris Agreement suggests that to fight climate change, our individual carbon budget should be around 2 tons for an entire year. A single 90-minute joyride to space blows through more than double that budget for one person. The irony is just staggering, right? selling an experience, a planetary connection that comes at an enormous cost to the planet itself. But, and this is the good news, there is a way to get the same profound perspective shifting experience without the $500,000 price tag and without all the pollution. It turns out the overview effect isn't just for the cosmos. It has a kind of earthbound alter ego. Researchers call them environmental epiphanies. These are those sudden, powerful moments of connection and clarity about nature that can hit us right here on the ground. Maybe while you're reading a book, or standing on top of a mountain, or even just walking through a local park. And this slide really nails the main takeaway here. The psychological ingredients are identical. That feeling of awe you get from looking up at a giant sequoia tree, it triggers the exact same process of perceived vastness and need for accommodation as seeing the entire Earth from space. The feeling is the same, only the altitude is different. So you don't need a rocket to change your perspective. You just need to know where to look. And when you do, you'll discover all of the amazing benefits it can bring to your own life. And the science is totally clear on this. Actively looking for moments of awe doesn't just feel good, it actually makes us better people. Studies show it literally increases our generosity and helpfulness, it boosts our well being and life satisfaction, and it deepens our feeling of connection to other people. It makes us less focused on ourselves and more a part of the whole shebang. So in the end, the real lesson of the overview effect is that the most valuable perspectives aren't always the most expensive or the hardest to get to. They're waiting for us in a sunset, in a forest, in a piece of music, or even in a simple act of kindness. The only question left is, where are you going to find your next moment of awe?